We do. We have some notes.
Stephen did send some
We
notes somewhere.
We're
Oh, yeah.
live, everybody.
All right.
we have notes. We have plans. You guys all made it. I wasn't sure.
That's, I'm proud of this team. We all actually made it all the way to a domestic location.
It was
Without-
touch and go.
After leaving 36 hours ago in one case.
Right. I guess, well, when you put it that way, all right, well, no big deal.
The one thing that didn't make it, Tim's phone charge did not last the whole trip. And
Oh yeah, my Google map went out unfortunately before I got to the hotel. So I had to sort
Oh
of
no.
kind of recollect where I remembered it being based on the Google map. To make it
Oh
there.
no.
That's why I didn't send you my updated guess, because my phone had no nothing.
his hat has kind of a sixth sense where other hats like it are, and he just kind of
It's like a water, what is it, water blowing, water divining?
one of those
I
things.
got out, and I was like,
Water, yeah, what do they call it?
when it got closer,
That's
could
why
feel
I
it
made them
vibrating.
that way. I added microchips in them. So
So right,
okay.
so we're here because we're doing this flying by the seat of our pants challenge,
Silver
and
points, Greg. The silver points.
jeez,
Silver
why
points.
we gotta start this
We're
whole
pointing
thing over.
points.
Flying by the seat of our points challenge.
Wow.
We could be a pants blog too.
Got that right.
Congratulations, everyone.
This is our
and-
OnlyFans feed.
And we each came from different locations, our own homes, and we're told we had to be here in LA by 6 p.m. local time or 9 p.m. Eastern time, and that for this live event where we're going to talk about how we got here. We're going to learn from our judges what scores we got for our trips here, and then probably most exciting, we're going to find out where we're going next.
Yes. Yes. First of all, congratulations that you all made it. I wasn't certain you would at various points.
Nice.
Yeah. Right.
And nobody got a
Congrats.
30-minute penalty, right?
Right. Yeah. Get out of the
We all made it
penalty.
penalty free.
That's true. You all made it penalty free. Congrats to Greg for getting the king bed.
Thank you.
Nice.
We would like to start off with a quick recap from each of you about how you got there and the decisions you made. Make it quickish, a minute or two. We're going to start with Greg.
Okay. So I found a United award available with Turkish miles to fly from Detroit to, at first I found Detroit to LA. But then I found that there was a flight from San Francisco to LA that was scheduled to arrive exactly 3 p.m. today. And so I really wanted to be on that flight. So what I did is I flew into San Francisco last night. So it was all first class for only 15,000 Turkish miles. I will get back 7,500 of those miles because of a transfer bonus going on. And I used up my city points that were about to expire. So all big wins. Flew first class, and then today I flew that flight from San Francisco here. Actually on cash. It was a really cheap flight.
Was that on
Nice.
Southwest?
All right.
That was on United as well.
Oh, did you eat food in the airport before you left?
I did.
The last time that didn't happen,
And that was the problem, as I recall.
and that screwed everything else up.
Yeah,
Thing you know, you don't have your backpack. All hell broke loose.
that's right.
Mhm.
For
True.
all kinds of reasons, this was way better than that trip to LA from San Francisco, including I had lunch at the Centurion Lounge at SFO.
Good.
So, scale of 1 to 10, how confident do you feel that you're getting that coveted 3? Since we're doing rank scoring for flights for value and experience,
Right.
how confident are you feeling?
So we're getting 2 different scores, right? One for value,
Yes.
one for experience. Yeah,
How confident are you in each category?
yeah. Not very. So I'm thinking I'm going to come in second in both.
All right. Nick, let's go to you next. Give us your summary of how you got here and then how confident you are on both of those metrics.
All right. I used American Airlines miles to book an economy class award from Albany to Philadelphia to Phoenix to Los Angeles. And I picked that award for a few reasons. One, it was only 13,000 miles, so it was a good deal for getting all the way across the country. And two, I have American Airlines elite status thanks to playing the loyalty point games earned like entirely through shopping portal stuff. And I looked at those specific segments, and there were lots of seats still available in first class on both the segments from Philadelphia to Phoenix and Phoenix to Los Angeles. So I thought there was at least some shot that maybe I would get a free upgrade. And also because of my elite status, I was able to select an exit row at the time of booking. So I was able to select exit row aisle seats on all my flights to have plenty of legroom. So that was nice to be able to have that. There was also food and beverage for purchase on my second flight, my long flight from Philadelphia to Phoenix, and my Aviator Silver card would give me a rebate, a statement credit for in-flight food and beverage purchase. So I figured this kind of approximates the domestic first class experience for the economy class price. But then lo and behold, I did get the upgrade on the long haul flight from Philadelphia to Phoenix. So I did fly up front in domestic first for that, which was nice. And I got in at 3:18. The plane actually landed at 3:12, which was almost spot on with our goal time of 3 o'clock. I was just a little bit behind Greg and had a longer walk to get to the Uber point. So I ended up here quite a bit behind him, but I landed within like 10 minutes of Greg. So I thought there was hope I was going to hustle up and get here, but he beat me here.
All right. And how confident are you for experience and value?
Well, so for value, I'm really confident because I flew the longest of the three of us and almost twice as far as Tim had to fly. And my first class leg alone was about 2/3 the length of Greg's entire itinerary. So I feel pretty good about only paying 13,000 miles and getting all the way across the country from
But
New
how
York.
many miles are you getting rebated?
That's true. I'm not getting any rebated. So that's, an argument for the frequent miler. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I didn't do badly in either. So yeah, maybe I'll take a second place in both because I didn't have to fly United. And,
So you guys are the most realistic
so
people
if
ever to
you're-
guess that you're average.
We're all shooting for second place.
Do you think I'm first or third? That's what I want to know.
We're all
All
tied
right,
for
Tim.
second.
Yeah,
I'm going to take first for value.
I'll take it. We'll do
I don't know.
five
Second for experience.
Okay.
Just give me the
Tim.
3 points for value.
So the question I have was getting upgraded to first in American an upgrade?
I mean, it wasn't a downgrade.
Well, it was confusing from your videos because you argued that economy was better in the exit row.
It was roughly approximately
Good
similar.
man, you might have
Just
shot yourself in the foot
tolerant.
there.
You showed less legroom in first, so you kind of got a downgrade by getting upgraded.
Greg now,
So that
Greg
makes
now
something
thinks he's
count.
first.
He had a terrible experience. So as far as luxury goes, he got booted out of economy. So that
Greg
was
is
terrible
not
for him.
So I did
confident
probably
for
sacrifice
Nick.
a little legroom for the upgrade.
All right, Tim, we want to know, as the person closest to LA, how were you last? Tell us how you did that and
was
how
I-
confident you are.
Oh,
How were you last to get here?
no,
Last
I got
in
here like-
I was
time.
like,
Like
Terry,
5
you
minutes
had
ago.
one job. Come on. At least
No,
hold
no,
on to
last
the
in
news
arrival
for a little
time.
while. Well, so because I'm so close, I knew that there was going to be a bunch of, well, we had to fly all the way across the country type remarks. And I also actually was really, I figured one of them would do domestic first and for 15K through Turkish. And I actually thought at least one of them would do lie flats. I'm a little disappointed, but that's okay. It's okay. I'm not the judge. These are the guys who are the judge.
Good thing.
So given that, I knew that I felt like I had to gussy up my trip a bunch. And so part of that is I don't have access to any lie flats without going way out of the way. And Steven said that if I went way out of the way and didn't add something that made it value added, that I would be penalized and thrown to or thrown into the corner, whatever the loser's corner.
Pepper prison.
Thank you, that one. Pepper prison. So I didn't want to go out of the way. So I really wanted to get, there's a couple of different products, but my favorite first class product that isn't a lie flat is called the E175. It's a little regional jet that has a 1-2 first class. So there's one seat on one side and two on the other. And I love that single seat on the side. Super roomy. it only has and it has direct dial access and a window. I was hoping to get that. And I also wanted to get 2 different types of transport because again, I knew that Greg and Nick would be flying lie flat all the way across for 10,000 miles. And I also didn't want it, and I wanted to get it under 15,000 because I knew that I figured one of them would at least be at 15,000, and I had to be the cheapest since I was the shortest. So what I ended up doing is I used British Airways Avios to book a nonstop flight from Seattle to Santa Barbara that actually is using that exact product that I wanted. Before I booked it, I saw that there was 4 or 5 open seats. So I figured that as a 100K, I would get complimentary upgrades pretty quickly. So I bought the ticket, changed the frequent flyer number so that I put my Alaska number on my British reservation using Finnair. Check out the post if you want to hear about that again. And as soon as I added my number, I was upgraded to premium class. And then sure enough, about an hour later, I was upgraded to first class and got to pick the exact seat that I wanted. So I got the exact seat. So I was really excited because that would get me here just in time to get the Pacific Surfliner train in business class for 2,000 Amtrak points from Santa Barbara to LA, right along the coast. Beautiful ride. The problem is Stephen told me I couldn't do it. Because
I'm a killjoy.
because I actually booked everything before I got the address of the hotel. Then once I got the address of the hotel, I realized that I was going to be about an hour away from the hotel in LA rush hour. And even taking trains here, I would either get here 5 minutes ahead, and if everything worked out all right, or 5 minutes later or more. And Stephen said there was no grace periods. Grace periods are for people in Pepper's prison. And so I ended up renting a car
Where there is no grace.
and I was able to find a one-way rental using 950 Hertz points. So I didn't spend any cash on the rental. And then turned it into a 6-hour road trip where I went from Santa Barbara to LA, stopped in the Santa Cruz Mountains, Venice Beach, Santa Monica, and Malibu. Had 5 different regional cuisines that were meant to approximate 5 different cuisine or country guesses about where we're going next. And then I even had time to stop and pick up cold champagne for the guys here.
Cold and everything.
We were hoping for warm, but okay.
Yeah.
Last year it was warm and I learned my lesson.
When he asked for the bucket of ice, that was just
Oh.
misdirection.
Right.
Stephen, can you reiterate to the guys and to the viewers what our wedding and funeral rule is for these time live check-in goals we're giving them?
Yeah, so basically for these live streams that we're doing throughout the challenge, we have a funeral, wedding, job interview, like other important event kind of rule, whereby they have to be available at their destination at that particular time of the live stream. We're basically deeming the live stream as a non-negotiable. So if you were trying to get to like a funeral or something like that, you wouldn't be scheduling your flight to be landing like 10 minutes after when it's actually due to start or something like that. So that's basically how we're regarding live streams, is that even though they're not as important as that kind of live event, they are an important live event. So they have to be there in time for that, or else they will be penalized.
I like how Carrie illustrated that with that librarian, like
Exactly.
Now, I will say,
Similarly,
we do have some grace, though, depending on the situation. So if you've deliberately booked something that's going to be getting you in late, then you will lose the points for that particular stage for that kind of travel segment. If you are late because you had booked something with a risky connection, so say you only like you booked an American flight and you only had 30 minutes to connect in Charlotte or something like that, and you missed the connection, you'll get penalized some points, but because like you could conceivably have made it, it wouldn't be quite as bad as something that was deliberately scheduled late. And if you're just incredibly unfortunate, like there's some kind of like plane malfunction or something like that, and so it can't depart from the gate, then you won't end up necessarily losing anything, or if you do end up losing any points, it would just be like maybe -1 point or something, because it's circumstances outside of your control that you can't do anything about, basically. So
Oh,
that's
that's good to
how
know.
that's
Like
how
a
the
funeral.
goes.
If if you got hit with an unexpected snowstorm on your way to a funeral, everyone would be like, okay, we get it. So now it's time to award your points, right? And tell you our
Exciting.
scoring.
So
Steven.
this is being ridiculously hard.
I bet.
Like, way harder.
We weren't gonna
than
make
I
it
thought was
easy
gonna
on you,
be.
Stephen. Come on.
Well, I was at least hoping that there would be some clearly obvious, like, amazing value booking, and like the other people would have stuff that was kind of greatly inferior to that to make it at least easier to decide who was the best, and then like maybe just have to duke out between the final two. However, each of you have put together a fantastic itinerary for where you were coming from and taking into account the challenges you had. So this scoring, I don't know if you'll all think it's fair, but it's the way that it's worked out. So
Wait, these guys only want to be second. Remember that. Steve. So before you say anything else,
so in first, but I guess sort of second place to earn 3 points is, can you all give me a drum roll?
Wait, for which category is this?
Yeah, which
this is for the value, actually.
Value,
This is for the
value.
value.
Slight value.
So the winner for this stage is Nick. So reasoning behind that is that 13,000 American Airlines miles, and no other costs other than what, $560 for your taxes and fees coming from the other side of the country, for the class of service that you ended up getting, and being able to leverage your status. It felt like that was deserving of the 3 points mark. It was tough though, because arguments
What's the
couldn't be
moves?
made for the other two guys.
No, not really. Nobody wants to hear those arguments anymore. It's done. It's done. Let's move on. 3 points.
So
All right, and the 2 slot.
number 2 is going to be Tim. So I will explain this a little bit more. I don't know, it's a little
Greg
bit
and I share
risky
second.
awarding 1 point to the boss, but I will explain this a little bit more. So
it is
so-
dicey to Steven. Yeah.
Oh no,
In fact,
pepper
you
prison
might
for
not be
Steven.
the next meetup, Steven.
So Tim redeemed 11,000 Avios, and for that he got a first class flight. He only had to spend $5.60 for taxes and fees too. And then the car that he booked that using Hertz points, and so there was no cost out of pocket for that. So his only cost out of pocket today was effectively the gas to be able to drive along the California coast and the food that he had along the way. And he did that I was very impressed with how frugally he ended up doing that, as someone, as I said in the last live stream, that I'm a bit of a cheapskate. So I appreciated how he got to try 5 or 6 different foods for something like $25. So that
Now
was
you
good.
know how you can impress us. Mhm.
Yes.
All right.
And then
I'm seeing a path here, guys. I'm seeing a path.
Yeah.
so with Greg only getting 1 point, it was really tough, because it also feels like he should earn 3 points, because if it was
I think you
purely
should
on the
change it.
flight, if it was purely on the flight alone, being able to book the Turkish sweet spot for 15,000 miles to fly in first class the entire way and get 7,500 back, that is incredible value, and that is deserving of first place if that was all that he spent. However, because he flew to San Francisco, he also had about almost $130 out of pocket for the flight from San Francisco to LAX. Plus, he had to redeem a free category 1 to 4 Hyatt free night certificate for his hotel overnight in San Francisco. Now, those still weren't bad options, because he can use points to offset the cost of the cash flight, plus the certificate was going to be expiring in a few months and he didn't have any other plans for that. So it was still a good redemption, but overall, when taking into account the value of how much the others had redeemed and how much he redeemed, it just felt like he had spent a bit more, and so that's why he ended up
Because he did.
Point. Yeah, basically, yeah. So if he had just booked that direct flight into LAX, then I think he would have earned the 3 points for that.
Woulda,
However,
coulda,
But-
shoulda.
I did appreciate the
Nick would have
gameplay
beat me
element.
to.
Yeah.
Nick would have beat me to the hotel though.
Right, right.
That's true.
He
Would've
values
had that
values the
room,
king
though.
bed. So now experience. Steven.
So yeah,
Three
travel
slots.
experience. This was another really tricky one. So I was discussing it with Carrie and also discussed it with my wife, and it was interesting because me and Shay had kind of different ideas as to who did the best. And this is a much more subjective kind of thing because it's more based on how we would each prefer to travel. Because ultimately, the travel experience in terms of the flights themselves, there wasn't too much difference between you all because Greg and Tim both flew in first class all of the way. Nick got first class most of the way and was also in main cabin or in a exit row seat for much of the way. And so the actual experience on the flight itself, there wasn't too much between them. So it's kind of everything else that went into this as to how this was how I ended up scoring it. So for
Three
first
slots.
place, I'm giving the 3 points to Greg.
Ooh.
And
Redeemed.
that may seem a little bit weird, but I'm someone who likes to
Doesn't
kind
seem weird.
of remove
Really
I like
weird.
to
I
remove
don't
the stress
understand.
out of travel. If I have to book a positioning flight in an ideal world, I'd be getting there the night before, so I don't have to worry the next day about whether or not I'm going to be getting there and things like that. So being able to get at least most of the way. So if something terrible had happened, there would have been multiple ways he could have gone from San Francisco to LA today. So even though he wasn't actually in LA, it also meant that he had a good night's rest overnight at the Hyatt Regency, got to enjoy the lounge there. He also got to go and do the podcast in person. And overall, if his itinerary was the one that I personally would have preferred, and it just seemed kind of like the most relaxed, kind of the most productive and things like that. So that's why he earned the 3 points.
Very efficient.
Spending more is more comfortable.
Yeah.
Who knew?
And it's kind of funny because normally I would value like lower cost above comfort necessarily, but in this case it would actually be the other way around. So and for second place, that is going to be Tim. So
Hey, I'm the guy in second place, guys. Come on. Why do you keep trying to get
You
and
got
steal
the
my
spot
place?
everyone wanted.
We all wanted his.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's actually
No,
kind of funny.
wait a minute,
but-
wait a minute.
That
You
was
can't
my-
have it.
If I'm doing my math right, we all have 4 points. Is
Well,
that right?
You do for
Just
now.
wait.
You
For
do
now.
for now,
Oh,
but there are other points to be earned this evening.
Oh,
I mean-
no.
I mean,
Yeah,
unless
it's
Nick
taken
came
up.
in fourth or something.
So, but-
Anyway, go ahead.
If he had taken that bump, maybe. No. All right. So Tim
Tim gets the 2
slots.
points because it seemed like he had a really fun trip down the California coast. In terms of actual travel, that was the most enjoyable, and it was actually Tim's one that my wife would have picked for first place. But because I'm someone who's I guess like a little bit more straightforward, like to get to kind of my destination with minimal stress and things like that, then that's why I awarded 3 points to Greg. But Tim's day-to-day looked like it was fantastic, looked like he had a lot of fun. And I'm sure that if I did it, I would have had a lot of fun too. And that's why it was 2 points. With Nick, unfortunately, he
You know,
only earned
Stephen,
1
I just
point.
have to ask you one question about this. So
Mhm.
the guy who did the road trip got docked for not getting to the spay directly enough from the guy who's doing the 8-year road trip.
So funny, I don't even enjoy driving all that much for the most part. So.
Why didn't you tell us before?
Wait, you're trying to tell me that a trip down the California coast to taste different types of delicious food is better than spending all day on American Airlines? What's wrong with that?
Couldn't have put it better ourselves.
Take away his
honestly.
green card.
So yeah, so like Nick's journey was, I guess, kind of the most straightforward of them all, and his journey was probably, I mean, other than like Greg's, where it might travel the day before to get a position nice and early. Tim's was kind of, Nick's was the most straightforward, I guess, obvious itinerary for your average kind of person and things like that. And given how far he had to come, he's almost being penalized a little here because he had fewer options in terms of the distance that he had to come in terms of what he would be able to make of
Are
the
there no pity
experience.
points available?
There was a
Are there no pity points available?
Pepper doesn't-
Only if you go to
maybe-
Pepper Prison.
Maybe at the end of the but overall, like, I'm kind of glad that it did work out this way, because each of you earning a total of 4 points for the value and experience, I feel that somewhat fairly represents all of the trips that you put together, because you all put together fantastic trips in your own way and different ways of getting to LAX. So I was impressed with them all, and you guys did make it super hard trying to decide that. So
But don't worry, we have some bonus points
Yeah,
to help
yes, we do.
throw it off balance a little bit.
Mhm.
So Stephen,
I guess we'll go from left to right. So Greg, you earn 1 bonus point for gameplay. So scheduling your arrival into LAX for 3 p.m. on the dot was fantastic, and then being
Pretty
the
good.
first hotel, like, that combined was absolutely deserving of a bonus point for this.
Now he tells us there was points.
Thank you.
involved.
You know, if we had read the judging
we
post, we might have
asked you to
known.
be there first.
Wait,
We,
there was a judging
we-
post?
we told you it was a race.
And
right.
Greg also earns a bonus point for booking the Turkish sweet spot at the last minute, because being able to book business class on United using Turkish miles is hard at the best of times, and being able to find something that was absolutely perfect for this challenge was also deserving of a point. So you earn a total of 2 bonus points for this stage.
Nice.
Ooh.
I'll also mention that it was kind of terrifying when I went to book that flight, because I had to wait till, I had to transfer the points to Turkish first.
Mhm.
And then I tried to book it and I got an error the first time, and then I couldn't recreate the search. Like, I'd search again, it would say no seats. And so it was only after about 15 or 20 minutes that I think it released the seats from that first time trying, that I went through again and got it booked. So it was a terrifying experience, especially because the flight I was trying to book,
You made it through that.
flight I was trying to book was just a few hours from when I was
Yeah.
actually booking it. And I hadn't
If
even
we'd
packed
known
it.
that, I don't know if we would have called that a good experience.
Too late. Can't take that back.
Greg essentially spent time in a Turkish prison.
Yeah, Pepper Prison. At least he avoided that. All right. So
So next
about
up
the
will
two-
be Tim.
Tim.
So Tim, you earn 1 bonus point for having a travel day with like a little bit of flair. So we kind of like took it into account a little bit with the whole experience, but being able to rent a Malibu and driving into Malibu, we liked how you did that, and so
That's cool.
so especially because you were at a bit of a disadvantage coming from Seattle, that did kind of limit how much kind of like flair
Creativity and
you could
flair.
do with that. So yeah, we were pleased with what you did, so that earned a bonus point. And
we like
Nick-
puns.
Yes.
Oh,
And Nick, you're not alone.
Oh.
You earn a bonus point too, Nick.
Oh,
So, yes, you
Very
get
good.
one for having kind of the most straightforward itinerary, like I said earlier. That
So this is the pity point.
Your
So
average
that was
pity
the-
point.
the pity
Pity
Waiting for a pity point.
Pepper pity point. But booking something that people would be much more likely to book out of the 3 different options, because I think if someone had to get somewhere last minute, especially from the other side of the country, yours is the kind of itinerary they took, and so. And this isn't even pity points. This is legit.
Thank
Like,
you. I get the point too.
Ken, is there a participation?
I was
trophy to
wondering. I was
discuss
just gonna ask.
Nick
for-
wants to give his point
Yeah.
back.
Carrie and I will get the participation trophy.
That's
Yeah.
right. We give ourselves the participation.
Hey, we get to
point.
be second together.
That's right. That's right. There we go.
We do like fairness over here.
Yes.
I think that covers our bonus points.
Yep. So that puts
so-
Greg 1 point ahead right now.
Woohoo.
Yes.
Yes.
So our total.
Steven just got scared when you threatened to fire him.
He was like, how do I give him another bonus point?
He's like, "Oh, I guess, Greg, you got 5 bonus points. So you're...
Hey,
Well,
that-
spending more,
whatever
Greg.
works. There were no rules against threatening firing. So
That is true. That is true.
I'll
So
also
that
accept,
puts us at
I'll also
I don't know if he
accept
was effective for
bonuses
you.
by check and Hyatt points into my account.
That's That's
We'll
right.
wait and see how
So-
the next rounds go, though.
Our summaries are now Greg at 6 points, Nick at 5, and Tim at 5. But there's still more bonus points that could be had because you guys had a mini challenge. You had to pick a meal that you thought represented the country you think that you will be going to next. We got official guesses from everyone but Tim because Tim's phone died.
No, you have my
So-
official. You have my official guess.
Oh, so you
Uh,
didn't
You
change
might
your
not have
mind?
seen it.
No, I changed. You just haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
Well, no,
Where
hey,
would
I can
look
tell it
for
to you live. I can tell it to you
Oh,
live.
We'll, we'll get it.
I've
We'll
just
get it
seen
from you
Okay.
live.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Steven's going to do some calculation here. And while he's doing that, Greg, share what your meal item was and what your official country guess is.
All right. Can I give some explanation?
Yeah.
You're the boss.
right.
You can do whatever you want.
So I started off. There we go. I actually started off thinking we were definitely going to Asia since we were positioning to the West Coast beforehand. And I was thinking that you might send me to Singapore, but I'm not going to get into why that. But anyway, then I realized that our 2 p.m. Eastern time check-in on Friday would be the middle of the night in Asia. And I don't think you guys would do that to us. So I started thinking more about like, okay, so it's more likely that it's going to be Europe or Africa or the Middle East, where 2 p.m. Eastern time will be 9, 10, maybe 11 p.m., depending on how far east you go. So I changed my guess from Singapore to, at first I was thinking Dublin, but I mean like Ireland, but then I thought, well, if I'm going to guess Ireland and we're right about Europe, but I don't want to be that far west
Yeah.
because
Oh.
so then I was thinking, all right, I know you guys are trying to pick a country we haven't been to. I've never been to Greece. And so Greece has some advantages, which is if Middle East is correct, it's closer, a lot closer than some other places in Europe. And if Northern Africa is correct, again, it's closer than other places. So anyway, Greece is my answer. And so I got a
Alright.
Greek euro.
So are we all really quickly? Are we all going first, or are you giving each person their destination one at a time?
I think
No,
you
you're
get
all
your
gonna give your
guesses
guesses.
first. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So
That
that
makes
Nick and I,
sense.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I would like to hear where
Mhm,
Greg's
mhm.
going.
Well,
Nope. All right. Tim, what is your official guess? We saw a bunch of
So-
stuff that you
so-
tried. So what was your official
so
guess?
let me say that my biggest consideration was where we're at, and like Greg, the meeting point, which to your guys' credit, you had to announce it ahead of time, so we knew that it had to be 2 p.m. So today I've already gone through 3 things. I tried some tacos that were representative of Mexico. That would have been a great option. If we were going to go to Mexico, you guys would have made it later. I had empanadas from Argentina. If you guys were sending us to South America, I think we would have had it later. So I think that you guys either positioned us to LA to make it more difficult to fly to Europe, as opposed to putting it on the East Coast where there's a bazillion things, and to give Greg and Nick some appreciation for what I go through on a yearly basis, trying to struggle to scratch out business class awards in the West Coast.
You managed very well.
Or I think you're actually sending us in different directions. That's what I think
Yeah.
either way. Now, I think we're probably all going to Europe, but I'm kind of confused. So I did actually, before I poured a drink before we started. And it's a
Looks
drink
like
made
water.
with Russian vodka.
I think it's
But it's
water.
Oh, looks like
Need
it might be
evidence.
real.
Oh.
And-
All right, all right. Mhm,
And now
okay.
Russia, now we joked around about this, that Russia would be probably the best gameplay choice because it's big, it crosses both things. I would have a little coverage in Asia, Middle East, and Europe. But you know, that feels a little like cheating. And I don't really want to go to what I really want it to be is Southeast Asia. The problem is,
Can I interrupt just one second? Did we explain that the winner of this is based on how close you are, and that's
Oh, yeah.
why Tim was saying that Russia
yeah,
is
because
close
Close by
to a lot of
border.
things.
and it's to the
Right.
closest
Yeah.
border because
Mhm.
Russia borders all these different countries, so you'd be closer.
Right.
So I was thinking, well, I don't, but that feels kind of cheating. My other thing, I got an Italian sandwich. I don't think you're going to send me to Italy. I've already
I
been
don't
there.
think so.
But then I realized I opened up this bag of seaweed snacks too.
As one does.
Just, you
And
just have them
so
there.
these-
And so
now,
you're
you
going
might
on
think-
booze.
You might think the
That they go
spice,
really well with Russian vodka.
you might
you
think
might
the
think-
You can't
spicy
guess the
tempura
ocean, Tim.
snacks are from Japan, but they're not. They're actually from Thailand. So I feel like this is fate. I've never been to Thailand. I really want to go to Thailand.
You've never been to Thailand? Wow.
So I'm gonna go with my heart
What time is
and
it?
not with my head.
What time is 2 p.m. Eastern in
Late.
It's
Thailand?
midnight.
Yeah. He's calculating
All
that
right.
tells me you're not going to Thailand. Okay.
All right.
So
Nick.
okay, so I started out thinking Asia also, mostly actually because I thought that would be what would appeal to Carrie and Steven, sending us to Asia. And I actually originally thought something like Cambodia or Laos, but those countries require a visa, and I didn't
Yeah.
think you'd send us somewhere that requires a visa. So I narrowed it down to Nepal, Malaysia, and Indonesia for a number of reasons. And then we had some controversy the other night over how we were going to determine the distance. When you pick your food, like we're saying here, the person who picks the food that is closest geographically to the country they're going is going to win this segment here. And so Tim had asked about China, or we talked about Russia because they border lots of different things. And so there were different solutions to that problem. Okay, so should we measure from the center of the country you pick? Should we measure from the capital city to capital city? And in the end, you guys said that we're going to measure from the closest border with the country that you pick. And that told me that the countries you're sending us to can't possibly border a lot of different places. So I thought that must mean you're not going to want to like if somebody picks China, you're not going to give them all credit for all the different places, right? I figured we're going to like islands or countries that are more separate. So I had thought Indonesia, and I ordered food from Indonesia that's going to be here in a few minutes. But then I realized exactly what Greg is saying. The timing didn't make any sense. It's got to be east. I thought about Nairobi, Kenya, but I think award availability there would be tough. So in the end, I went to CVS and I nailed it. You guys are sending me to Sweden.
Whatever the opposite
Land
of
of
Sweden is.
Swedish fish.
Swiss.
The land of Swedish fish.
Why did you pick Sweden in particular?
Because I have
Because of the fish?
You want to be English fish.
They had no Danish.
I was kind of hungry and I went to CVS.
Yes.
Greg.
We know
There's
it's
no
not the
other-
fish.
other-
I
I
like
mean,
fish.
that's a good reason. That's a good reason.
So they're in Europe. That's a good question. I should explain that. In Europe, there aren't very many countries that I haven't been to. There's some, but there's not a ton of them. And out of the ones that I haven't been to, I looked around, like Albania, for instance, is one I know Carrie likes and I'd be interested in going. But there's no Hyatts, there's no IHGs, there's no Hiltons in Albania. And so I went through countries like that, Serbia and Albania and blah, 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 one after another that didn't have any interesting looking award options or any at all that I could find at first glance. And Sweden's got a bunch of different options where I could redeem points to good value. I wrote recently about using Finnair Avios for Nordic hotels. So that's why I'm picking Sweden. I think
There you
Sweden's
go.
the pick.
Okay, so before
Alright.
we announce where you're going, there's two very quick things to cover. First is that if we had calculated this based on your initial guesses, Nick would have been the furthest away. Greg and Tim would have been closer than him, and their guesses were only 13 miles different before. In terms
And
of
this is the
distance.
guesses you didn't publish.
Your guesses that you didn't pick.
They privately
No
gave
way.
us guesses ahead
Yeah.
of time that
What?
were supposed to be their finals.
So not that you were only 13 miles away from the country you guessed.
That our
but
distance
your-
was 13
From
miles.
each other.
the total distance between the two countries each of you guessed was only a difference of 13 miles. And
Wow.
Tim would have won the 3 points for being the closest of all three guys. However, you've all changed your country since, and so the number of points that you'll each earn has all changed as well. So
Yep.
Can I ask a quick
so we-
procedural question right now?
Yep.
The screen doesn't show that that we're live for me. Do we know that we're actually live?
It says YouTube in the top left corner for me. I think.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought it actually would say live. Okay,
All right.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if I can do
Um,
this again.
I know.
Viewers,
Too much.
Can't make this up.
Oh.
viewers, tell us if we're live. Just kidding. Like us if we're live.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
this
like
video
us,
if,
Thumbs
if
up.
you're still seeing us like this.
And-
Okay.
And then the other
So-
thing, just before Carrie announces where you're going to be going, we changed things up ever so slightly in that when we've all been discussing this before, we said that like we'd be giving you a city that you'd be flying to next. We're not going to be giving you each a city to fly to next.
What?
That's confusing.
We're going to be giving you a country.
Country.
Ah,
Okay.
So
okay.
basically, that gives you a little bit more flexibility because
Yeah.
all of the countries we're giving you, the cities in them that you might want to book might have like 1 or 2 or 3 good options or something like that. But then it might be that you would have preferred like a better redemption option in a different city or something like that. So we figured we'll give you guys a little bit of flexibility
Yeah.
to be able to book the best possible thing to your liking. And
Can
so
I-
give
Can I
you
just
a-
say now I'm feeling really good about changing my guess from Singapore.
Yeah.
That's fair. Mhm.
Absolutely. So you're about to find out your
Alright.
countries.
So let's,
Before I
so-
tell you-
That's
so
exciting.
who gets the 3 points? Let's go in order of who won this time.
Well, it might give something away.
I
'cause
think it's up
'cause
to
I
the
think I
judges.
nailed it. So I think he's going to do whatever he wants to
Do whatever you want to do.
If as long
What,
as
what
Nick
do you
didn't-
think,
as long
Carrie?
as Nick
What would
didn't
you
win.
prefer?
No, that's fine. Whatever. you want.
You do it
I was
however
gonna
you want.
I was thinking we'll give one single bonus point to the person who was closest.
Why did
Okay.
That's weird.
Stingy.
Someone raised their hand.
Who's raising their hand? So before I tell you your countries or make you guess your countries, I want to explain to the viewers again that we're about to give them their second destination, which is a international divergence destination. So now they're all parting ways. They had to meet together here in LA. Now they're about to part ways to different destinations. But once they get there, then they'll have to find out another third destination where they come back together again internationally. So this
Is it
the
fair if Tim
international
drops us
divergence.
off at our countries with his rental car?
That won't work for Singapore, I don't think. All right, so we're going to start with Greg. Greg, you may not own a Tesla, but you work with a Nick. Your destination is the country where Nikola Tesla is from 167 miles away from your guess of Greece.
You know where you're going?
You know where you're going?
I know where he's going.
Tesla.
Nikola Tesla.
I
Oh my
almost
gosh.
guessed that for myself, actually.
I think he's from Austria.
Nick, why don't you go ahead?
Austria background, but in terms of where he was actually born,
I don't know.
and it wasn't even this country at the time, but it's what this country is now.
Nick, why don't you
Serbia.
tell him?
Oh
Nope.
no,
Oh,
sort of. Like
This, I
Sort
told
of.
Steven I'm gonna give them like softballs. I guess that didn't happen.
so he does. There is some kind of Serbia connection, but the country is
Croatia.
correct.
That's right.
Ah, all
Greg
right.
is going to
That's great.
Croatia.
So
And
I
I-
get
Right
points
area.
for getting Greg's destination.
you
right.
should. You should. You should. You should.
So I'm gonna quick read off your exploration challenges while you're there. Is
Oh.
that
Oh,
Yeah.
So
That
yeah,
good timing
as
for
a
now?
quick,
And then I'll-
recap.
as
Yeah,
a quick yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, as a quick recap, each contestant will be getting at stage 2 will be getting 3 challenges that they have to complete. So this is what Greg will have to do in Croatia.
And I'll send these to you too because they're too hard to memorize. 3 challenges. 1, eat something that either still has eyeballs, still has tentacles, or both.
Okay.
Mm.
2,
I've done that on previous
So is
challenges.
that so if he does eyeballs and tentacles, is that 2 points? If it has both?
no.
That's one
don't know.
point, but
We'll decide.
maybe he would get a bonus point if he does it with.
Well, it depends
That's
how disgusting
just
it
a
looks.
Greg challenge, right?
Yes, this is just a
I
Greg.
can't wait to
These-
hear yours.
So this is the first for these destinations. The destinations are different, and so are the challenges. So your second
Right.
challenge: there are many ways to enjoy the water in Croatia. Show us one of them.
Oh, great.
And 3, teach us what makes Croatia's black risotto black. Those are your
Ooh.
3 challenges.
All right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Might
Nice
have
one.
something to
All
do.
right. So next we've got Tim. We're just going to go in order of how you're sitting.
Okay.
Let me pull up my riddles again. Sorry, Nick, because that's what's written next to my notes.
Okay.
Nick, we picked a place you've never been before, but Tim has been there very, very recently. 1,716 miles away from your guess of Sweden.
So I'm gonna guess it's got to be Morocco.
Morocco, you got
All
it.
right.
Nice.
Okay.
And here are your challenges. Find an authentic Moroccan dish served in a tagine. You might have to help my pronunciation,
Yeah.
Tim.
Yeah. I think so.
Yep.
That's what.
Okay.
Tim, yeah. Tim.
2, you impressed your kids by visiting Santa. Can you impress them by doing something that convinces them you're Indiana Jones?
Ooh. Ooh. I
3,
like.
That's great.
can you do what we failed to do in Macau and find a place to enjoy some live music?
Ooh. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Those
too.
are your
Yeah.
challenges.
We've got great
All right.
assignments.
I don't think you're supposed
So-
to use the M word though. The Macau word.
Macau.
So since neither Nick nor I were assigned to it, I guess that means Tim goes to Newark.
But
Bring
maybe
it
a
on.
bonus point if you fly through Newark.
No.
I'm
If I
pretty
eat something with
sure.
eyeballs in Newark.
I'm pretty sure you're going to get this pretty quickly. So, Tim, you filled your day with your own personal favorites, but you'll be going to a country that's near and dear to my heart, as it's where we Yoders originate. I don't know how many miles it is from your guess because I didn't get it ahead of time. Somewhere around 5,000 from your guess of
Yeah,
Thailand.
5,116.
You know what you know what's
5,116
funny?
miles.
I almost picked out Polish vodka.
Well, I mean,
it
that would have been
much
close.
closer.
Which is a
So
nice way
you
of saying it still would
You
have been
think
wrong.
Yoder is Polish?
No, I'm not. No, Yoda isn't Polish. Actually, I don't know. What
So
where,
it's
where are
actually
people? Well, no, I'm trying
So
to
what's
think
your
of
guess?
well, I'm trying to think of places I haven't been to. Or is it
It's
some
funny
places I
because
have been to?
I really thought that you were going to guess this
It's-
because you've mentioned it on a previous live stream.
And I will say you've said that you've never been there, and you've also said that you've been there. So I'm actually not sure on this one.
Oh,
Is
'Cause
it
on our
is it-
little chart you filled out, you said you've
Yoderville,
been there,
Sam.
but you've
Yoder-
said multiple times conversationally that you've never been there. So
Belgium?
no.
I've been
Where
to
have you said repeatedly that you've never been, but then on your
But
little
you
country
have been.
checklist?
I mean, I
said
have a
that you have
guess.
been.
Oh, Sweden.
Um,
Sweden. No, I said
Switzerland.
Sweden.
It's
Norway.
somewhere-
right?
It's somewhere you might get holy.
I don't understand
Might
that.
get holy.
He did. Yeah. No, I do.
With,
I
with,
do.
with-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With your
It's
choice.
perfect. It's perfect for your cheesy sense of humor.
there you go. Nice.
Well done. Well done. This
I
is
cannot
where
believe
I
you
told
can't-
my wife that this is where Tim is getting
What
sent.
if I start giving you your challenges and that might
Okay, sure. Give me my
That might
challenges.
help.
Give me my challenges. Let's see. And audience members can help me, please.
Okay, this country is notoriously expensive. Can you eat something authentic
And
for
it's,
under
it's
$20?
not Norway. So is it Finland?
No. Second challenge, get higher than the hills so you can see if they're really alive with the sound of music.
Netherlands.
No. Are you like trolling us? And 3, we know you like a nice glass of wine, but see if you can find this drink, which originated here, absinthe.
Huh.
You don't know where Yoder is from?
I don't know where yours is from. I don't know where absinthe was. So not Denmark, not Netherlands, not Belgium, not Norway, not Sweden, not
I'm
Finland.
gonna pull up every recording of you saying you've never been here.
you have mentioned multiple times that you haven't been to this country.
But you marked it as a place you've been in our
Switzerland.
that list.
Yes.
Yes, at last.
So I actually have been to Switzerland, but I've
I-
never been to any cities in Switzerland. I've only been hiking in Switzerland.
Okay.
That's an interesting way to say you've never been.
Oh no, so that might be where the because until recently we just
I
went.
find that
we went to-
confusing.
it was part of the last trip to the Alps that we took last year. So until
Ah.
then, I had never been to Switzerland. And depending on, when you are to a city. it'll-
Right.
Sure.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So you hiked through it.
Well, no, I hiked around in it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, anyway, you're going there.
Okay, cool. So can you read my challenges again? So I'm supposed
Yes.
I'm supposed to drink absinthe.
Here are your challenges. Switzerland is notoriously expensive. Can you eat something authentic for under $20?
Can I
Get
eat
higher
anything
than the
for
hills
$20?
so you can see if they're really alive with the sound of music. We know you like a nice glass of wine, but see if you can find this drink, which originated in Switzerland, absinthe.
Okay.
There you go. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are great.
Greg's guesses-
Yeah.
You
Greg's
guys did a
guesses have been
fantastic
particularly
job.
Funny
Sorry, I couldn't
because,
hear you, Steven.
Greg's guesses have been particularly funny because when we were originally discussing possible countries, Greece and Ireland were two that had been on the potential list before we decided to go with Croatia. So if we'd have stuck with some of our original decisions, you could have
Yeah.
potentially been spot on.
That's
Also,
okay.
till-
I'm really happy with the assignment.
We did change our minds multiple times, and recently, very recently, Nick made a comment saying, "I just don't want to go to Europe," and so we changed it.
Did you change it to Europe or from Europe?
Well, we changed it
from
from
Europe.
Europe. Yeah, I can't remember what
To
country was
Morocco.
it we were given.
I think
It would be
I
funny
think
if
it actually was
Sweden.
Serbia. It actually was
Oh.
Serbia.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Oh, that
yeah.
would have been interesting too.
well, Nick's not technically going to Europe, right? So
It depends on
Yeah.
whether you consider the award chart
If-
definition of Europe
well,
or the.
yeah, sure.
Oh.
Flying Blue thinks
And that's
you're going to
partly
Europe.
why we thought
Nerdy
Morocco would be
specific.
interesting, just because of the award chart
Yep.
situation as well. So
Yeah.
All right. So let's see where we're at now. We've
Bonus
announced
points if you
station-
get there the way I
location.
was. That Maisie and I were gonna get there.
Ooh, I don't know what
and
that was.
change your mind.
Bonus
It was-
points
it
from
was to go-
Greg.
It was to go into Madrid, take the high-speed train down to
Oh.
the southern part, and then take the ferry across.
I don't know. I don't know if I'll do that. We'll see.
You
I have
should.
an idea.
You should.
Maybe I'll do that on the way out.
an edge because it'll take him forever.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you should get on that train that Drake took from Cape Town to Johannesburg.
Right.
That's a good one.
You should enjoy those
all the way
tentacles in
across
action,
Africa.
Greg.
I will.
So, Steven, you wanted to share some information about why we picked what we did.
yeah, so this was kind of the reason why we ended up picking LAX, is because we've had quite a few readers in the past mention that we'll highlight award availability from Boston, New York, and things like that. And so, but that it's harder to get award availability in business class to Europe from the West Coast. And so we figured this would give you a good opportunity to showcase what is possible at the last minute from there, but also giving you a bit more of a chance by locating you in Los Angeles rather than some other random airport on the West Coast kind of region. And also we figured that it would give us an opportunity to kind of disguise where we were going to send you. So it was funny when you originally all thought that we were going to be sending you to Asia. And so it was also quite amusing when you ended up changing your minds or two of you changing your minds as to where you'd be going as well. So, but yeah, that's the main reason why we did that.
Yeah,
good.
we thought you
Yeah,
changed
great.
your guesses
Well done.
because you saw Tim's speculation about us trying to throw you off with LA, and we were like, ah.
No.
No, I
That,
think everybody
that
was
wasn't the
kinda-
reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody was kind of. It was that combined with the time.
Yeah.
All right.
Time zone.
So
The time of the meetup.
now we have now we're down to announcing whose guesses were closest, and therefore the award the mini challenge. Greg was the closest, followed by Nick, and then lastly Tim. So do we want to rank point it, Stephen? 3, 2, and 1? Or just one bonus point for Greg?
I think if we bank point it, yeah, we'll give Greg 3 points, Nick 2, and Tim 1.
All right, so let
Well,
me
one ahead of you there, Tim.
quick
Got my
do my
second
little-
place back.
Whereas if you'd gone with your original guesses, Tim would have got 3 points, Greg would have got 2, and Nick would have got 1. So every single one of
Wow.
you has a different number of points than you would have actually ended up with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Goodness.
CBS ended up being
CBS was huge. Swedish fish, which I don't like, by the way. So.
Wait,
Really?
you don't like Swedish fish or real fish?
No,
I like
right.
Swedish
There's
fish.
there's no kind
You
of
know,
fish
there's
that-
actually no
that I-
fish in the Swedish fish. Did you know that?
I did not. It looks like a fish. It looks like it says Swedish right on it, and it
Yeah,
looks like
but there's no Swedish
Oh.
people in it either.
Greg, you know, if
So
you
now,
these have eyeballs.
they do. No tentacles. though.
I'm gonna go by by the intent of the rule though, and get
Mhm.
something that's actually was alive. Might not be alive when I eat it though. I don't
so
think that
now our new point totals, based on that bonus round, is Greg with 9, Nick with 7, and Tim with 6.
Mm.
Oh, we got some catching up.
Yup.
All right. That takes us almost to the end of our hour. Anything
So
else you guys
now-
wanted to refresh for our viewers before we wrap up?
Well,
Stephen had something?
Steven had something.
Well, I was just going to say, so now, like, these guys, I'm assuming, are going to be trying to do some award booking as soon as possible because it's, what, 7 o'clock where you guys are, or about to be 7 o'clock PM. And so, in theory, there's a chance they might be able to get a last minute flight out
Right.
tonight over to Europe or Morocco.
Thinking about it.
And so it'll be interesting to see what they end up coming up with.
Yeah,
Very
when I
true.
got into the hotel, I almost unpacked like some stuff, and then I thought, no, I might be leaving in a few hours. I'm gonna just leave it all in there. I might have to
It's
rush.
Plugged
just
in all
gonna
my
be-
stuff because I was like, I want to make sure I recharge everything
same,
now.
Yeah,
You guys
and
will have a
one other
LAN
thing-
party.
Tim should have
So-
plugged in.
One other thing to highlight as well is that it should be kind of equally difficult for all of you to book flights to where you're going to be going, because I don't think Nick and Greg have any non-stop flights available from LAX to their countries. Tim, I think, could potentially take a Swiss flight to Geneva, but that's assuming there's award availability and assuming it's leaving at a convenient time for when you would actually need to be trying to get there. So in theory, it should be an equal levels of difficulty for you all.
Yeah,
And
yeah. If it leaves too early, Tim's gonna be like, "That's inconvenient. I'm gonna look for it."
he'll go see Belgium on his way to Switzerland.
Hey, I like that idea.
He probably will. All right. So I want to remind our viewers that we do have another live coming up on Friday when these guys have to. So the next deadline that these guys have to meet is the 2 p.m. Eastern Time Friday live check-in, which ended up being quite a hint, sounds like. And that's where we'll tell them where their international convergence destination is, and they'll report on how they got to their various destinations. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that will give you notifications of every live that comes up. And don't forget to like this video real quick. Am I forgetting anything before we go dead?
One other thing I want to remind people, we each have these journal posts that we keep adding to, and you can find them if you go to the Frequent Miler homepage. There's a link to go to the challenge homepage, and each of our journals are like linked to in there. And so if you have suggestions for us, you want to, help tell Tim how to spell Switzerland or
Totally.
whatever it is, go into Tim's post and write in the comments there, and that's how you can help out Tim. And of course, Croatian tips I'd appreciate, and Nick would appreciate tips about Morocco.
Absolutely.
And Tim can give you guys tips on how to get to Europe from LA.
I don't know,
From
think
the
he's
West
going
Coast.
to, but he could.
I'm hoping that Tim's gonna find that the best flight is to reposition back to Seattle and then go from there. I just think that would be
It's actually not
ironic.
likely.
No, I mean,
So-
it's very
I
likely.
Say hi to the cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shh. No,
We don't know.
It's going to be interesting. If you want to see what happens next, we're updating as live as possible on Instagram. So follow along and we'll be feeding you posts.
Yeah.
Thanks for
right.
joining, everybody.
Let's
And
go.
You're
on-
eating us. I gotta go eat.
And
something.
on
I'm gonna go to the airport.
Instagram, in addition to the main feed, if you click like the little Frequent Miler circle at the top, you'll get like additional content up there as well.
True. The stories. Yep.
Yes, that's it, stories. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Well,
See
bye,
you on the other
everybody.
side of the pond.
can't wait to see you on Friday.
See you on Friday.
Bye, everyone.